Hey everyone, hello and welcome to Gupshup's webinar on building advanced bots. My name is Sohan Maheshwar and I lead developer relations at Gupshup. So while many of the early bots have been simple bots with limited capabilities, we're now starting to see advanced bots emerging. And the whole point of this webinar, or the whole purpose of this webinar, is to explain to you what an advanced bot is, to talk about the current state of the bot ecosystem, and also talk about what the immediate future holds in the bot ecosystem. Do note that we will send out a recording of the webinar by tomorrow. Also, the floor is open for questions, so feel free to ask questions at any point of time, and we'll try and get to as many as we can. I have with me Shreyans as well, my colleague. He is a developer evangelist at Gupshup. You can see our Twitter IDs right there. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about the bot ecosystem. So the current bot ecosystem, well, it's a mixed bag if we are to be honest, right? In April 2016, Facebook opened up Messenger for bots, and there was a lot of hype around bots. There was a lot of bots were trending. Bots were supposed to be the next big thing. But few months later, a lot of people have been underwhelmed with the experience that they've had with bots. One of the reasons probably was wrong expectations that were set by media and a few people who really talked up the whole bot ecosystem. So as Hank Hockoff, who's a serial entrepreneur and an investor, he says bots need to get shit done, right? As we can see, a lot of the bots people found it difficult to really chat with them. There were a few problems with NLP. They tried to do too many things. So it's following the sort of Gartner hype cycle, and right now is like the trough of disillusionment that they usually speak about. Which is when there's a lot of hype about a product, and then people try out a new product, and it doesn't really match up to the user's expectations. The good news is with the Gartner hype life cycle, the product increases in the next few months to what the user's expectations are. So I'm pretty convinced that bots are going to follow that same trajectory as well, and we'll talk about what the advanced bots will be capable of. But first, let's talk about the simple sort of bots that are available right now. The first one is obviously a keyword bot, right? And as I explain each different type of bot, let me just switch to a screen and maybe show you a demo of the bot as well, just so that you know what I'm talking about. The keyword bot, very similar to a command prompt or a term a lot of people here on this webinar would be familiar with the command prompt. You essentially start with the keyword, and that just tells the bot what needs to be done. Right? Here's a simple example. You're just showing, it's a bot to show GIFs basically. So you start with Jiffy, and Slack knows, okay, you need to show a GIF, and it just shows you a GIF based on what you've typed after that. Oops, sorry. Yeah. Also, here's an example from Telegram where they have a bot, sort of meta bot called the bot father. So if you have to create a new bot, you can just add the keyword /new bot, and it creates a new bot for you. It then asks you what you want to name the bot and what you want to name the app and stuff like that. But you get the idea, right? I can just probably show you a quick example. Yeah. Okay. So this is Slack. I can just say /Jiffy and say sleepy cat or something like that. Yeah, and it would show me a GIF of a sleepy cat, right? So the keyword here is the first Jiffy. Very similar to keyword bots are bots with very simple API calls, right? Of course, most of you here would have worked with HTTP and REST and those sort of protocols, where JSON is your friend. You essentially make a GET or a PUT call to HTTP REST service, and it usually returns back JSON which you process to display. Simple examples like this could be bots that show you the latest scores in a football game, or maybe a bot to tell you the weather. Right, and essentially what it's doing is it's just retrieving data from a REST API. Here's an example of a weather bot. All you need to do is enter a pin code or a city or a locality, and it tells you what the weather is going to be like. Right? Let me just show you a quick example again. I can just say weather followed by city name, and this would make a REST call to a weather API, and it would send back JSON that would give me the temperature, humidity, pressure, and weather description. Simple enough, and I'm sure a lot of you all here on this webinar are bot builders, and you have worked with or you've created bots that do something like this. The third type of simple bot is a scripted bot, right? Lot of bots are used essentially to just present information. They are only conversational driven, right? Essentially, there's no HTTP call as such that's being made dynamically. It's all hard coded. So you have a conversation, you define a certain flow, and you make it a little interactive so that there are a couple of buttons, but everything is hard coded. This is a great way to present data, right? Because it's interactive. A user feels like he or she is talking to a friend, because you've thrown in like little personality into the chatbot as well, and it's worked great with surveys, it's worked great with celebrities, it's worked great with sports teams resumes. There are a lot of interesting use cases around scripted bots, and I'll show you a couple of them. For instance, this is an example from Esther bot, right? So Esther Crawford, whose image you see here, was a product marketer in San Francisco. Is a product marketer in San Francisco, and she created a bot which basically was a resume. So you can learn all about, and I think all of us here as well can maybe create something like this. You can learn all about uh, her past experience, what she's interested in, the paper she's written, and the great thing is she actually turned this into a product. So a lot of celebrities now have their own bot, which is built on a product that Esther herself created. The other one is something called Millennial Biz, and I'll show you an example of that. Like I said, a scripted bot is a great way to display results of a survey, which is exactly what Millennial Biz is. I hope you all can see my screen here. So essentially, there was this chap who did research on what millennials do, and everyone's talking about millennials and the millennial vote and what their passions are, what they're passionate about. So someone's done research about it and has presented this in the form of a bot, right? So it's interactive. I can say, okay, how many times have you heard the word millennial lately? I'll say, oh, what is that? Right. So it will send me a couple of GIFs and some information as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's just clicking. All this is hard coded. So every time you come and use this bot, you will get the exact same information. But it's a great way to really present this data. It's funny, it's humorous, as you can see. So yeah, similarly, just open Facebook here. Selena Gomez has a bot. It's down right now, but for testing purposes, of course, I've interacted with the bot before. But you can check out Q&As. You can do a Selena Gomez quiz. There's a lyrics quiz, a whole bunch of different things. As you can see, I unsubscribed from it as well. But yeah, I think you get the idea. Yeah. The last type of simple bots that we're going to discuss is a template bot. Right now, a lot of small business owners, for instance, like a restaurant or a shop or a cafe or a bar, they need not have the technical expertise or even maybe the time or inclination to create a bot. But having a bot right now is a great way to market to customers. It opens up a new channel to get more customers. It makes things more interactive. You're getting to engage with your customers. So there are companies such as us, Gupshup, who have launched template bots. Right. So essentially, you're creating bots with no code required. You're essentially just customizing a template using a WYSIWYG editor. For instance, here's a restaurant template, and all you have to do is enter the name of the dishes that your restaurant serves and how much it costs, and maybe a couple of details of your restaurant, like where it is. And with one click, you can publish this particular template to Facebook Messenger instantly. The beauty about this is you don't need to know any coding. It takes less than maybe a couple of hours at max to create this bot. And yeah, you can publish it instantly since it's a template. It's pre-approved by Facebook. There's not really too much you can do. Of course, the con is that you don't have too much control, so you really can't customize it to like a deeper sort of level. But for small business owners, this is something that they need. Again, let me just show you a quick example of how it works. Yeah, so this is how the template looks, and I can say add a category that says, okay, like say entrees perhaps, right? Small plates. Right, I can choose to add a photo, or I can add a subcategory. Let's say, okay, Spanish food costs $20 perhaps. Add, yeah, and it's pretty simple. I can upload photos from wherever, yeah. And the great thing is, it's a one-click to publish. I can hit publish, and this would publish it to Facebook immediately. Right, all I have to do is accept permissions on my own Facebook page if I have a Facebook app or a Facebook page ready, I can link it and we'll have the bot ready. Right? So these are the type of simple sort of bots that are currently in the ecosystem right now. There are tons of these, and the great thing is users have actually taken to this paradigm quite well. A lot of bots have more than 100K users, and users are quickly getting used to it, which also means that the next wave of bots are coming and they are upon us, which are the advanced bots. Right now, these advanced bots go well beyond the sort of simple keyword or simple sort of template bots that are out there right now. And there are few things that really create or really define what an advanced bot is. We'll take you through some of them, of course. Again, if you have any questions, please keep them coming and we try and get to as many as possible. So one of the first things, probably the most popular type of bot right now is a bot with structured messages, right? And it is an advanced bot, and they're bots with buttons and menus, right? The whole key to a bot with structured messages is instant interactions, right? So, like I said, there was the first wave of bots had like a slightly underwhelming experience at times, which was probably because of wrong expectations. What people realized, and here's a great quote by Ted Livingston, who's the founder and CEO of Kick. So Ted Livingston's been writing a lot of articles about bots. He's quite a bot evangelist, and Kick is a messaging platform that's opened up their app to bots as well. So he has a great quote, and I'm going to read it out to you. And he says, part of the misfire with the conversational aspect of bots has to do with the fact that natural language processing and artificial intelligence are not yet accomplished at managing human-like conversations, which I think is very true. Right? NLP and AI has evolved to a great deal in the last 5 years. I mean, there's no doubting that with a lot of companies like Google and Facebook, and even your smaller NLP guys like Wit.ai and API.ai, who of course belong to Facebook and Google right now, the great leaps and strides in the NLP and AI department. The problem is it still doesn't match up to the level of what a human can do, right? And I think that's where we as bot users are probably expecting other chatbots to do, and we're not there yet, right? So one of the ways to really solve this, or one of the ways to circumvent this, is to have a bot with instant interactions. Right now, most messaging platforms such as Facebook Messenger, Kik, Telegram, and Slack all support buttons within their chat, buttons and menus and carousels and images within their chat to really kind of further this whole structured messages sort of paradigm. Right, here's an example of I think this is the dig.com bot, and this is a Hipmunk bot. So as you can see, and I think it'll just be easier if I can show you an example. So this is Messenger. So Hipmunk is a chatbot to help you with your travel bookings and hotel bookings and flight bookings, right? So I can say something like travel advice, and it ask me something like what's the best time to fly from SFO to London. So let's just do this. What's a good time to visit SFO from London? Yeah, so it has enough sort of enough gumption about it to realize that I'm looking for a flight from SFO to London, but it's going to present data to me in a sort of structured way because Hipmunk I think realizes that having a structured sort of interaction in this particular example really works well. So as you can see, it's passing for data right now. And in our experience, we've seen that bots that do this sort of instant interactions are the ones that are doing really well right now. And there are quite a few bot makers who are on this webinar, so I'd highly recommend using this sort of approach for your bots. Okay, looks like Hipmunk is taking a bit of time. Yeah, so it presents options in a slightly structured way, where it's giving me, okay, this flight costs on this particular date costs $680. This is another option I have. I can get options, I can get hotel options, I can create a fare alert. So as you can see, there are instant interactions here now. Typically, if this wasn't a sort of structured message, a lot of users might be confused as to how they have to proceed from here, right? But by giving options, you're making it clear for the user, okay, these are your options, and this is how you can really proceed with interacting with this chatbot. Cool. So the first sort of advanced bot we spoke about was a bot with structured messages. The second one is a bot that has basic NLP, right? NLP essentially is natural language processing, and I know most of you all here would be familiar with what natural language processing is, but let me just give you a small brief anyway. Essentially, NLP is the process of converting unstructured data, which is human conversation, into structured data, which is what computers can understand. We as humans can parse language, but as computers need structured data to really perform certain functions. So there are a few things that obviously constitute NLP, like for instance, dates and numbers, right? So there are so many ways in which I can say 25th June 2016. I can say 3 months prior. I can say the 25th of June 2016. I can actually type out the date. The date can be in MMDD or DDMM format. There are just so many different ways I can say this, which is why it's important for a chatbot to have natural language processing to really understand this. Right. For instance, if I had to refer to today is a Tuesday, and if I had to refer to say Thursday, I can say something like 2 days from now. I can say Thursday. I can say November 17th. Just so many different ways. So most NLP tools give you this option where you can really pass dates and numbers, and I think it's very important for your bot to have something like this. Also, you need language glue in your NLP, and also something that figures out typos. One thing you have to realize is that most people will be typing this on the move on their cell phones. Most people are on the move, or they're traveling, or on the subway perhaps. So there will be typos, there will be autocorrect instances, and most NLP tools kind of catch these typos. But it's also great if you can code in some of this and really train your bot to catch the commonly used typos. A bot that uses NLP really well, I think, is the Poncho bot. And again, let me just show you the Poncho bot. Okay, Poncho. Yeah. So Poncho is a pretty cool bot. They were featured on Facebook's F8 conference as well. It's a simple bot that tells you the weather, but it does it really well, and it has great NLP, right? So I can just say weather in Mumbai, which is quite straightforward. Essentially, this part works like a keyword bot, and like a structured sort of bot. I can say, okay, give me an hourly forecast. But I can also say intelligent things such as, do I need an umbrella in Mumbai tomorrow? Right? So this is a sort of intelligent way of asking if it's going to rain, but Poncho is smart enough to realize, okay, and smart enough to pass that sentence and tell me, no, you don't need your umbrella in Mumbai tomorrow. And it does so with a lot of humor and a great character, so I think it's a pretty great bot. Okay, so we've discussed, basic NLP and structured messages as two types of advanced bots. I'm going to transfer it to my colleague Shreyans here to take over for the rest of the presentation, and he'll tell you about the other types of advanced bots. So over to you, Shreyans. I'm going to make him presenter. There you go.
Thanks, Sohan, and hello, everyone. So let me just start off with, so the next type of advanced bot which you can build is using a slot filling. Now, what is slot filling is, it's essentially form filling with natural language processing. So for example, for doing certain stuff, like for booking a hotel, you need three information from the user. Now those three information can be the form which we fill on a website, but through bot we need all those three information. So we use something called slot filling, where the bot is actually intelligent enough to understand if the user has entered all the details or there is something missing, and based on the parameter which is missing, it can actually prompt user for that. We have an example to show you. It's called HelloPig. So it's actually a bot created by a company called Sage, which is based out of UK, and they have a bot which can actually take your incomes and expense and give you a report around it. Now you can directly say that I paid 300 rupees on a book for my colleague, or you can actually say it part wise, like I paid 100, then it will ask you whom did you pay and what did you spend on and everything. So let me show you an example of it. I'll just go to Hello Peg and let me just so HelloPig is an example of slot filling. So I'm just going to take and also it also works on certain keywords. So I'm just going to type help to see what keywords I need to add. So let's say I'll say expense, and it will ask me how much did you pay, and I can now say I paid let's say 200 $200 uh, $200 to Starbucks for client meeting. Oops, I think there is some mismatch. I guess it's not taking what I said. So let's try again. Actually, Spence used to do this though. So I think this bot has started misbehaving. So I'll just give you uh, let's talk through, what exactly it would help in. So, for example, here the example was, a bot which can actually take your income and expenses. The other example would be a hotel booking, which I talked about at the start. So, let's say to book an hotel, the bot needs three things from the user: the user's name, what date he's gonna come, and how many number of people the particular person will arrive at the hotel with. So now the user can say, book me a hotel for 25th of December for 4 people, or the user can say, book me a hotel. Then the bot will ask how many how many people. Then the user will say probably five, and then what date. The user will say 25 and 25th December, and then the bot will understand, okay, all the parameters has been actually fulfilled, and then it will actually book my hotel. The next technique would be query refinement. So what query refinement means is the way you query your database for any information. So here the context is the king. So this will pretty much come handy for bots which are into e-commerce and healthcare, for example. So let's say in e-commerce, in e-commerce, you are actually trying to buy a blue shirt. So you'll say, how much does the blue shirt cost? Now, if the bot shows me, say, $20, and then I may also ask, what about the green one? Now the bot has to maintain the context that I actually was looking for shirts, the price of a shirt. So it will actually give me a price of a green shirt. It will not again say tell me that it didn't understand or what I'm looking for, but it will actually give me the price of a green shirt. So in this, the technique we will use is search for aggregation. So the query which will be running for the search would actually the first search would be for the blue shirt, and then the next search would be based on what my previous context was and what user is now asking me to do, right? Uh, Currently, we couldn't find any bot which does this, so I'm just talking through it. Uh, in health, for this in healthcare, it would be like, say I as a patient is trying to diagnose uh, what is the I'm trying to root cause what exactly has happened to me. So I can say I am actually having low fever, and then I can say I'm vomiting and all those. So the context of the user has to be maintained to search out the right disease I have. The next one is actually navigation, which actually combine natural language processing and semantic search. So here, what we will actually do is we will parse out the user's text, and then we will actually do a keyword search based on it. So for example, the user, let's take an example. The user is actually talking to a product bot of a bank, and he wants to know about platinum debit card. So I can show, okay, we do offer two types of platinum debit card, and uh, uh, platinum 1 and platinum 2, and the user may say, okay, show me details about the platinum 2 card, and then user may say, what's the withdrawal limit. Now the bot has to understand that user is actually, at the decision tree of platinum 1, and the user is now asking withdrawal limit. So the response of platinum 1 card has to go to the user. For example, again, this we couldn't find any bot to showcase, but here is a decision tree which we can talk through. So first of all, user is trying to look for bank account, then debit card, then it comes to platinum. So the bot will understand that it is actually at this decision tree, and will try to search for the withdrawal limit for it. Right. The next, so we discussed about few techniques about how you can build advanced bot. Now we will now discuss what we think would be the immediate future for the bots. So as we are seeing a growth in bots which can do more of a customer support, or uh, the issue reporting or something. So we think that these bot will appear on every web portal. So as a company, I have a website, I'll have a web chat which actually will be a bot which interacts with the user. It will not only be the messaging channels, but it will also be the web chat which actually helps the users. So for that, we will definitely have to think about building something which can actually work on a website chat as well. The next one would be authentication. So why? Because let's take an example of fintech. So in fintech, you actually can build a lot of different products like personal finance management, bill management, and all. So let's say for you have built a bot which actually does a personal finance management. Now you need to authenticate for which user you are actually doing it. Otherwise, everyone having access to someone else Facebook account, or actually having access to his phone, can get hold of his bank details and all other expenditure, budgeting goal, and everything. So for that, authentication mechanism to be built in has to be built in the bot. There are different ways to build in authentication mechanism into a bot. There could be a PIN, an OTP, or Touch ID. So OTP then again has its pros and cons. Like, it's very easy to use. The message comes into your phone and then you type it out in the messenger. But again, if someone actually hacks into your phone or get hold of your phone, you can actually see what all assets and liabilities you have from that personal finance management bot. The other mechanism which would be very suitable, most of these banks and all, they offer RSA token and all. So as a personal finance bot, you can actually think about something PIN, or a ID which only the user knows where it is, and it's not something which can directly be accessed through the phone itself. Moving forward, so also we should provide seamless entry to the bot and from the bot, which is a why. So let's say, for example, you're going to show some report to a user, right? Now the link, you have to give user a signed link which opens in the web view, because the data shown to the user should not be a mixture of data of all the users who have interacted with the bot. So we should definitely think about how as no friction transitioning should happen between the bot and some reporting tool or something. Also, the other way around, you can also think of it as that users access to the bot. Now you should provide. Now currently, if you take example of Facebook, you actually have to go to Facebook, and in the search bar you have to search for either the page to which the bot is linked, or with the bot user ID on your messenger. But if you provide, a website or a link directly to which user can click and actually start the conversation with the bot on Facebook Messenger, it would be very easy for users to discover your bot. So that it would be a seamless entry for user to the bot. So that is something which you should definitely keep in mind. And we have again we actually had checked out this hello peg, and it actually does great. So at the start it gives you a link where you can go accept the terms and conditions and click on the bot Facebook Messenger icon, and it takes you to the bot. And if you're trying to look at your reports, then you get a signed link which you click, and it only shows data of that particular user, right? Okay, I think with that, I complete my presentation. We'll open it for questions, and I will actually move it back to, Sohan to take it forward.
Thanks, Shan. So yeah, do send in your questions. We've got a couple of questions in already. So do send in your questions. I'll take the ones that we have. Steve asks, what verticals are you seeing most traction in with advanced bots? Yeah, it's a good question, Steve. Essentially, pretty much every brand and every business is jumping onto the bot bandwagon. The ones that we're seeing the most traction in is retail, e-commerce, finance, staffing, perhaps. And the one specific sort of use case that we're seeing a lot of people use is customer support. Customer support is a broken system in its form right now. Right, you either have email, which takes a really long time. You have social media, which is not the most private and also takes a long time, and you have IVR, which I think everyone can assume or everyone can agree on is a really painful process. I mean, you have to call a number, press a bunch of buttons, listen to pipe in music, and most of the time you don't get your query really answered. With something like a chatbot, it's completely instant. Also, 80% of the queries any company gets is almost the same, right? So it's a frequently asked question. So with the right use of NLP and with the right use of like few structured messages, you can really transform your whole customer support module using chatbots. Okay, we've got a couple of questions here. Okay, yeah. So Minu has asked, how can I build a bot for my own website? Yeah. So Minu, there are a couple of ways you can do it. I can show you the way you can do it using Gupshup. Yeah. So this is gupshup.io. This is our homepage. Clicking on the My Bot section will take you to all the bots that you've created. As you can see, I've created quite a few bots already, mostly for demos. Right. So anytime a bot is created, one second, there are a bunch of channels that I can publish it to. Yeah, I hope everyone can see my screen. Yeah, right. So these are all the channels you can publish it to. We have an option called web widget, right? So if I hit publish, it's going to create a sort of JavaScript code. Yeah. So essentially, it's completely customizable. I can change the colors. I can change the width of my web widget, as you can see, or I can make it larger as well. Yeah, I can change the color here too. As you can see, the background is changing. And yeah, I just get the code for this. Code pasted on my HTML on my website, and that's it. The bot is live. So that's how you can create. Of course, you can do it custom as well, where you create your own code, write APIs to your backend, and create a sort of UI element using JavaScript or something like that, and paste it on your website. I hope that answered your question. Okay, Prasanna has an interesting question. He says, what's the average retention rate of bot users? That's a really good question, Prasanna, and I think that's another thing that people are a little underwhelmed with at the beginning. So there are a few things here, right? So it depends on what sort of bot yours is, right? So if yours is a weather bot, I probably won't it depends on which country you live in. A lot of people, if it rains a lot or if it's going to snow, they check their weather often, or if they travel a lot. But countries with more tropical climate, you probably are not going to check the weather that much. If it's something like a bot for news, the retention rate is pretty high because you can customize and you can get personalized news reports, unlike a mobile app or a website where like say in a mobile app you take a CNN app, everyone's going to get like almost the same sort of notifications. But with a chatbot, it can learn what you like and what you don't like and offer sort of only custom news snippets to you. Something that Poncho said during a conference I was at recently at Vienna was pretty interesting. Poncho was also presenting, and they said about 60 to 70% of their users come in through notifications, right? And this is re-engagement done, but done really well. So they'll send in like a joke or a meme or something interesting about the city, or they do it really well, and because of that, the users keep coming back to the chatbot. So I think at the end of the day, it really depends on A, what your bot's content is, and B, how you really engage your users. If you're going to really spam your users, send them like inappropriate content that's not personalized, that's not contextualized, then you can expect like a much lesser retention rate. But apps like Poncho or other chatbots like Poncho really show you how it's done. And just to clarify, it's much higher than an app because it's easier for users to use, and users spend so much time on messaging apps anyway. People don't really have time for other apps and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. Any other questions out there from anyone? Okay, I think there aren't any other questions out there. Just before we close, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about Gupshup. Gupshup has been a leader in the messaging and bot space for many years. As you can see here, we started off as a cloud APIs for SMS. We're still a leading cloud messaging platform, and we handle about 3 to 4 billion messages a month. This product was launched in 2010. Sometime in 2014, we launched this messaging app very similar to Slack called Team Chat. It was here that we pioneered structured messages in chat, sorry, and we built and deployed hundreds of bots. And this is when we saw the paradigm shift happen towards the chatbot ecosystem, and we opened up a platform so that other developers can come onto our platform and build bots. Since FAP, we've had like almost 2,500, actually more than that, bots created. We also have a solutioning team here, so if you want us to build your bot for you, we can do that. Our system is fairly self-serve as well, so do log on to gupshup.io and check out our bot ecosystem. Okay, Monash has asked a question about SME bot. How can I delete it? Yeah, so Monash, can you just write in? It's a very Gupshup specific question, so can you just write into developer@gupshup.com and we'll solve your question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he said okay. Great. So that's it from us. Thanks a lot. Do write in at developer@gupshup.io or on our twitter.com/gupshup. We will send you a recording of the webinar as well. Thanks for attending this webinar and have a good day. Thank you.